Marcus is 38 years old. He drives a blacked-out BMW M5, wears a Rolex Submariner, and just posted his Cabo Resort suite to Instagram. He makes $160,000 a year as a senior sales director in Atlanta. His followers assume he's winning. He has $1,400 in his savings account. Then there's David. He's 41. He drives a 2017 Honda Accord with 94,000 miles on it. He brings lunch to work in a beat-up cooler. His coworkers joke, gently, that he's a little cheap. He makes $115,000 a year as a project manager outside Columbus, Ohio. He has $470,000 in his brokerage account. His mortgage has 8 years left, and he sleeps 8 hours a night. Both of these men went to college, both landed decent careers, both live in the same country with access to the same financial tools. One of them has built something real. The other has built a very convincing performance of something real. And most people, if you showed them a photo, would assume the wrong man is ahead. That gap, that optical illusion between the appearance of wealth and the reality of it, is what this video is about. If you're someone who feels exhausted keeping up financially, working hard, making decent money, but somehow always feeling behind, subscribe and like this video. What I'm about to share took me years to understand, and I wish someone had said it plainly. Here's what most personal finance content gets wrong. It frames the problem as a math problem. Earn more, spend less, invest the difference, and while that's technically true, it completely ignores the reason most people can't execute it, which is that the financial system we live in is running psychological warfare on your bank account every single day. Think about what you're actually up against. A 2024 Lending Club report found that 57% of U.S. adults live paycheck to paycheck, not 57% of low-income households, and 57% of U.S. adults, including 40% of people earning over $100,000 a year. That is not a math problem. That is a psychology problem. The real enemy isn't your income. It's the invisible social pressure to signal status through consumption, to perform wealth before you've built it, to look the part before you've earned the part, and the mechanism is almost invisible because everyone around you is doing the same thing. The Joneses aren't rich. They're just further into debt and slightly more stressed. Here's the analogy I keep coming back to. Imagine you're in a race, and someone tells you the goal is to run fast. So you sprint, you look great, your form is perfect, but nobody told you the finish line is 26 miles away. Marcus is sprinting. David is running his own race, quietly, at a pace he can sustain. The psychological concept that changed everything for me is called the wealth gap. Not the political kind, but the personal kind. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. The wider that gap, the more financial peace you experience. The narrower it gets, the more anxiety you carry, regardless of your income. David's gap is wide, not because he's some financial genius, but because he made a decision, probably years ago, maybe without even framing it this way, to stop performing wealth for other people. His $470,000 didn't appear overnight. At a 7% average annual return on roughly $1,500 a month invested over 14 years, compounding did the quiet, invisible work. That's not $1,500 a month in some exotic asset. That's what he freed up by not having a car payment on a $65,000 SUV, by not leasing an apartment to impress people he barely knows, by not spending $300 a weekend on dinners that he'll forget by Tuesday. That $1,500 a month, which sounds like a lot until you realize it's what many people spend on their car lease, plus their phone upgrade plan, plus their treat yourself Amazon habit. That $1,500 a month invested over time becomes something you can actually feel, not in likes, in sleep. Marcus, meanwhile, is spending approximately $4,200 a month on fixed status signals. His BMW payment is $1,100. Insurance on it is another $260. His apartment in Buckhead is $2,800 because the building has a rooftop pool he uses twice a year. When you subtract taxes, fixed expenses, and minimum debt payments, he has roughly $800 a month left over. Most months, he doesn't save it. Because something always comes up. Because life is expensive. Because he's tired and he deserves a nice dinner. And here's the part that nobody talks about. Marcus isn't a bad person. He's not stupid. He's doing exactly what the culture told him to do. He's just doing it on credit. There's a moment that comes for a lot of people in their early 40s. The bills haven't changed. The salary has grown. But somehow the anxiety has gotten worse, not better. And they can't figure out why. The reason is this: lifestyle inflation moves faster than income growth. You get a raise, you upgrade something, you get a bonus, you take the trip. It feels like reward. It is actually erosion. Marcus will feel this in about 6 years, maybe sooner. Because there's a number, a real, quiet number, that starts mattering more than the number on your paycheck. Your net worth. And net worth doesn't care what your car looks like. The psychological trap I see most often is what I call the performer's debt. It's not just financial debt. It's the constant cognitive load of maintaining a version of yourself that requires money you haven't earned yet. Every month, Marcus wakes up and has to fund the character he decided to play. David wakes up and just has to be himself. That is an enormous difference in daily mental energy. It doesn't show up in any financial statement, but you feel it. Financial peace isn't just about your portfolio. It's about the absence of performance. It's the quiet knowledge that your life doesn't depend on anyone's perception of it. So how do you actually move from Marcus's world to David's? Not through deprivation, through a shift in what you're optimizing for. The first thing is this: get honest about your status spending. Not your needs. Not even your wants. Your status spending. The money you're deploying specifically so others perceive you a certain way. The car, the neighborhood, the brand, add it up. Most people, when they actually do this, find between $800 and $2,000 a month they could redirect without meaningfully changing their quality of life. What changes is how other people see them, and that, I'd argue, was never actually yours to control. The second thing, widen the gap deliberately. I've been running my own business for over a decade. I've made money, lost money, and made it again. The single most reliable predictor of financial peace I've found isn't income, it's margin. If your monthly income is $8,000 and your monthly expenses are $7,800, you are one bad month from anxiety. If your expenses are $5,500, you have $2,500 of margin. That margin is freedom. That margin is what lets you not panic during a recession, take a risk on a new opportunity, or just sleep. Third, let the invisibility be the point. David doesn't drive a paid-off Honda because he can't afford better. He drives it because he understood something early, that the people whose opinions he was spending money to impress were not going to be there when the bill came due. The car is a tool. The house is a place to live. The clothes are fabric. The real asset is the gap between what comes in and what goes out. Everything else is theater. I think about Marcus sometimes. Not with judgment, with recognition. Because I've been there. I've bought things I didn't need, to impress people I didn't know, with money I hadn't fully earned. It's a very human thing to do. The world is designed to make you do exactly that. But David figured something out that most people don't, until it's much later. That looking like you have less, the ordinary car in the driveway, the brown bag lunch, the vacation that doesn't require a separate Instagram story, isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you've stopped playing a game that was always rigged against you. Real wealth whispers, not because wealthy people are hiding something, but because they stopped needing anyone to hear it. If this landed for you, if some version of this is what you've been feeling but couldn't name, drop your number in the comments. Your first $10,000 saved. Your first $100,000. Your crossover point. Whatever milestone you're working toward. And subscribe if you want to keep going. There's a lot more where this came from.